Okay, friends, welcome, welcome. We're going to start out in a cross-legged position, get ourselves nice and grounded. So as you find your cross-legged position, scooch onto the front edge of your sit bones. You can pull the flesh away or walk back. And if a cross-legged position is not a good starting position for you, just whatever works. Root your hands down to your knees or your thighs, and then take a couple rounds of breath where you're inhaling to lift your shoulders up towards your ears. And on your exhale, just rolling your shoulders down away from the ears and the back. And this could look like a little bit of seated cat and cow, where on the inhale, you're kind of taking that cat. And on the exhale, you're taking a little bit of that lift up through the spine, a little bit of cow. And then eventually, just let your shoulder heads release down away from the ears on the back. Close your eyes. Relax the hands, and then release your air all the way down to empty. Breathe into your low belly for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Fill all the way into your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Once you've got the full breath, just hold and relax. And then on your exhale, like you're quieting a child, breathe in low belly, low back, and pause. Take the air into the mid-abdomen and mid-back. Hold it there. And then bring it all the way into your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Again, once you find your full point, hold and relax your body. And then that same exhale. And once you hit the bottom of your breath, begin your ujjayi breathing. So inhaling through the nose, just like you're sipping the air in through a straw, going from the bottom to the middle, bringing all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, out your nose like you're fogging up a mirror, slowly releasing all the way back down to empty. And the muscles in your throat that you are creating the shh sound with are the same muscles that you use for ujjayi breathing. And as you engage those, you're going in and out through the nose. You want to dial in the sound of ocean waves, the sound of hollow wind in your head. Our breath is our link to mindfulness. Thus, let your breath be your guide for your practice, and just take what works for me and leave the rest behind. Bring your eyes open to a soft gaze up front. Inhale to lengthen and lift your arms up tall in space. And on your exhale, twist open to the right, bringing your right hand behind you and your left hand to the outside of your right knee. Inhale reaches your spine up tall in space. And on your exhale, twist from center and just take the gaze back across your right shoulder. Hold yourself in your twist, and then just feel the movement of the breath in the body. So the inhale might work a little bit against the twist, but when the exhale comes, that's when your body will twist a little bit deeper, massaging out your spine. And to stretch out the right side of your neck, just tilt your left ear forward to your left shoulder. Your chin could lift up, finding the front right edge of your neck, or your chin could come down, finding the back right edge of your neck. On an inhale, lift your arms up tall, face to the front of the room. And when your exhale comes, switch your sides out, taking that twist now, opening to the left, right hand grabbing outside of left knee or thigh. When your arms are in place, inhale, lengthen the spine up tall. And as your exhale comes through, twist from center and just send your gaze back over your shoulder. Hold your twist and just let that ujjayi breathing move through your body. to stretch out the left side of your neck, tilt your right ear forward to your right shoulder. Add any lift of your chin or drop of your chin to get to the edges of your neck. And then with the inhale, just take your arms wide, stretch tall. And when your exhale comes, hands into your heart center, and we'll rock it forward into a tabletop, finding your palms underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. To warm your palms up, turn the insides of your palms to face the front of the room. Your fingers point back, your thumbs point to the side. You could shift left or right or back and forth. You could also lean back and peel the hands off the mat back to your fingertips, and then slowly rock back forward until the heel of the palm roots, maybe taking that a couple times. Awesome, friends. Take the back of your hands down. Just give a gentle press and massage. And then in hero's pose with your knees together, tops of the feet to the ground, sit bones to your heels, just a moment to roll out your wrists. Beautiful. Okay, we'll meet up in our plank. Take a moment just to feel into it. Find your hands under your shoulders. Let your biceps tone in. Micro bend the elbows, hips up on level with your shoulders. And then on your toes or on your knees with your ankles crossed, take 3 slow motion push-ups. Exhales halfway down to Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhales back up. Avoid bending at your hips, so keep that plank so you're holding your body weight from the knees up or from the toes up. And then once you've got 3 of those or whatever, we're going to lower all the way down to the ground, move into our Bhujangasana Low Cobra. Tops of the feet root, palms slide down to frame mid-ribs, elbows in space. Squeeze the elbows together so shoulder blades tone, and then lift the chest up off the ground. Find the length through the back of the neck, letting your chin pull back in towards your throats. And then check that you're not, really relying on pressing into your hands as much as you're relying on the muscles in your back and your core muscles by just floating your palms up off the ground, just by a little bit. And then from there, let's take it back to locust pose. So fly your arms back in space. Lift the thighs up off the ground. Your elbows could bend and lift slightly up. Again, those shoulder blades toning in and staying with your breathing. On an exhale, release down, and we meet up in down dog, either moving through tabletop or through your plank. And just warm up your down dog however you like to. Maybe just walking out through it slowly, one heel at a time, lowering to the ground as opposite knee bends. And you can already start to spread out into the circle of your palm, spread out into your fingers and the pads of your fingers. You can start to release the weight of the head, micro bend the elbows, and tone your biceps in like you're holding tennis balls between ears and biceps. Lifting the core back and up away from that press and that hug to the ground. And then as the hips lift up high, letting the legs lengthen down to the ground behind you. We'll take baby steps on the balls of the feet, slowly walking up to a forward fold at the top of the mat. And you can go up to your fingertips or your fists at any point in time here. And once you find your forward fold, you can take a half lift on the inhale, slight bend in the knees, pressing to shins, lengthening spine, toning shoulders in, gaze down, and then refold on that exhale. Beautiful, friends. Ragdoll frame for this first one, opposite hand, opposite elbow or bicep, allowing the weight of the torso to gently sway side to side or rock back and forth. Any nod yes or nod no through your head can feel fantastic, letting the weight of the head just hang loose. And of course, just that beautiful breathing with us. Nice. Let the arms hang heavy. Keep your feet at hip bone distance or bring your toes together with space between your heels. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up. Let the head be the very last thing that comes up. And when your head does come up, inhale to reach your arms wide, stretch up tall. And then on the exhale, we're going to cactus the arms, make a baby back bend as you press to the ground, tone your shoulders in. Inhale to reach your arms back up tall in space, and just draw the hands down into your heart center on the exhale. So keep your right foot rooted to the floor and bring your arms and your left knee up into a one-legged mountain. So feel your big right toe pressing down to the ground. Focus your gaze out on something that's not moving and stay playful with your balance. If you fall out of it, just try to bring yourself back into it. We're going to play with a figure four. So this is a one-legged chair. Your left ankle goes over your right thigh. And as you take that one-legged chair in your right leg, tone the right leg. So you're not dropping the weight to your knee. We're supporting that knee by lowering into the muscles, all fired up in that right leg all the way up to your glutes. You could do one hand to knee and one hand to heel. You could do your hands at your heart center. This is a really nice hip opener as well. So think about flexing your left toes back to your shin, letting your left knee gently flex towards the ground. And then on an inhale, we come out of this back up one-legged mountain. For a layer up, you can start to extend your left leg forward as you lift up through your thigh. And we don't want to sacrifice length in the spine to lengthen the left leg. The length in our spine is first, and the length in the leg is coming out from there. Okay, friends, so inhale to lift that left leg up. And then on an exhale, we're going to swim all the way back into a low lunge position. So bringing your hands down to frame your right foot, ball the left foot to the ground behind you. From the low lunge, bring it up into our high crescent lunge. Your back left heel is off the ground, pulling forward. We're lowering into that lunge, bringing our right thigh parallel to the ground. Your right knee is right above your right heel. Press into the earth through your right leg, and then tone your thighs in towards one another and lift up through the chest here. Gaze is forward. Pinkies forward, thumbs back. And you feel that the shoulders are slightly coming back towards one another, shoulder heads down away from the ears and the back. And then on an exhale, just bow into a flying lunge. This is kind of like locust pose, arms reach back. Hold here for just a couple rounds of breath. And then we're going to go in between our high lunge and this flying lunge a few times. So like locust, elbows slightly bent and lifted, shoulder blades toned in, legs nice and strong. So here's our movement. Inhale to bring your arms back up, high crescent. You could play with your balance, taking your gaze up, and then exhales, bow you forward. And we're going to do that 3 times in all. So 2 more at your own pace. 1 more. And as you find the flying lunge, we'll step up into chair pose. So right foot meets your left. Again, similar to when we're creating that one-legged chair, we want to fire up the legs. Drop the sit bones back towards your heels. Your arms can be lifted straight up, or you could open your arms up into goal pose. Letting those sit bones lower down, staying with your breathing. Almost there. So your next exhale, you can just hinge out and swan dive forward fold. Inhale halfway up to lengthen your spine. On that exhale, refold. Reverse swan dive, inhale up nice and tall. And on the exhale, cactus open, baby back bend. Inhale to reach your arms up tall in space. And on your exhale, drop your hands behind you, interlace your fingers at your knuckles. Knuckles start to draw down, elbows bend and pull back, breathe in. And then with an exhale, take a forward fold, bringing those clasped hands out overhead. Beautiful chance to open the shoulders here. You can give any nod, yes or no, through your head as a reminder to let the weight of the head just stay relaxed. Elbows could always slightly bend forward. Beautiful, friends. So release, come to a forward fold. Take that inhale halfway up to lengthen through your spine. And then plant your hands and step or float back to your plank. And then this is your choice how you move from here. You could go directly to down dog from plank. You could come halfway, chaturanga dandasana. We could take upward facing dog or low cobra. Up dog, we're on the tops of the feet. Hips are off the ground. Shoulder heads away from the ears. Biceps toned in. And eventually we meet up in down dog. Excellent, friends. For thread the needle in down dog, you're going to step your toes in a little bit closer towards your hands. We'll keep the left hand rooted and then reach the right hand for the outside of the left calf or outside of the left heel. Gaze goes up underneath that left arm. We want to keep the lower part of the body nice and stable to the ground. We won't be here for very long. Okay, when you're ready for it, get to the end of the breath, bring that hand back down, and then take your baby step, walk up into your forward fold. When you arrive, inhale halfway up, lengthen and strengthen the spine. Exhale to refold. Reverse swan dive, inhale, arms wide and tall. Exhale, cactus open, baby back bend. Inhale to reach back up in space, mountain, and hands into your heart center on the exhale at standing. So your left foot will root to the ground, right knee and arms lift up to one-legged mountain. Again, feel that big left toe gripping to the ground. So we're spread out into all corners. Find an object in front of you that's not moving. So as we move into figure 4, if this is not in the cards for you, by the way, you could stay up here. You might replace it with maybe a tree pose or something. For figure 4, if we're going there, again, right ankle over your left thigh. Left leg goes into that one-legged chair. Maybe one hand to knee or heel or hands at heart center. Think about the hip opener you're moving into. Toes flexing gently towards shin. Right knee getting to gently flex down towards the earth. And feeling the support you're creating around that left knee by firing the muscles in the left leg all the way up into your left glutes. We're right about there. So on your next inhale, come back up to the one-legged mountain. If you want to do the layer up, you're going to lift your right thigh up tall. And as your right thigh lifts up, you're going to push forward through the ball of your right foot. Really pushing off of that, the left foot, but particularly feeling the press into your left heel. Breathe, that right leg lifts up, and then on an exhale, fly to your low lunge position. Hands tap down to frame left foot, ball of right foot to the ground behind us. Once your low lunge is in place, inhale to your high crescent lunge. Letting that back right heel pull forward, thighs tone in. And then creating that lift up through your chest, allowing those arms to pull back to frame ears, shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. Take your in-breath here, and on your exhale, our flying lunge, which again, very similar to locust pose in terms of your spine, the way you're flying your arms, the length through the back of your neck. If you're looking forward, the gaze is right out at the top of your eyes. Okay, and then we're going to do 3 of these where you inhale to bring it up into high crescent lunge. And then on the exhale, you take your bow into our flying lunge. And as you work through these on the inhales, as you lift up to high crescent, you can play with your balance, taking your gaze up. We meet up in that flying lunge position. We get nice and stable. And then on an inhale, your right foot steps up to meet your left, finding that chair, Utkatasana. And you can always do, chair with your big toes, ankle bones, knees, and thighs all in, or things at hip bone distance. Either way, feeling like we're dropping the weight back in towards the heels. Feeling fired up in the leg muscles. Staying with your breathing. Almost there. Breathe into it, and on your next exhale, hinge forward. And then you can do gorilla pose where you walk your hands under your feet, so back of the hands are to the ground, toes touch your wrists. Or peace sign fingers can grab around your big toes, elbows open wide. Either way, though, you're using the hands to the toes or the hands to the feet to gently draw your way, to gently pull your way into that forward fold. And then you want to press the heels and the toes down towards the ground and allow your hips to lift back and up from it as well. All the while using the breath, all the while letting the weight of the head just relax. Last couple rounds of breath here. Excellent, friends. Inhale halfway up, lengthen through your spine, and then plant the hands, step or float back into our high plank position. Your choice of how you're going to make your way to down dog. So taking your choice through that flow. And then as we hit down dog, your toes coming a little closer to your hands. And we're going to switch out that thread, the needle. So now your left hand grabs the outside of the right calf or grabs the outside of that right heel. And your gaze goes up underneath your right arm. Stay strong with your heels drawing down behind you. Strong with that right hand rooted to the ground. Again, we won't be here for very long. So when you're ready, just find the end of the breath and then bring that left hand back to the ground. We'll walk back up into our forward fold. On an inhale, when you reach it, come halfway up, lengthen your spine. Strengthen around it. Exhale to refold. Reverse swan dive. Inhale wide and tall. Exhale as the baby back bend. Tone the shoulders in. Lift through the chest. Inhale brings it back up tall. Hands to your heart center. And now we're going to move breath to movement, friends. So on an inhale, right foot stays. Lift arms and left knee up, one-legged mountain. And then exhale, left ankle over your right thigh. We come into our figure four. Inhale to come back up, one-legged mountain. You can extend your left leg forward, lift through the thigh. Exhale, low lunge position. When you tap down, inhale to rise up to your high crescent lunge. And then 3 of these. Exhale brings us to our flying lunge. Inhale, draw back up, high crescent. And exhale, flying lunge. One more like that. So inhale, rise up, high crescent. Exhale, flying lunge. We meet in the flying lunge. The inhale is chair pose. Right foot meets the left. Sit bones drop deep. Arms lift. And on the exhale, hinge out and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen and strengthen the spine. Plant the hands, step or float back to plank. Go directly to down dog or exhale halfway down chaturanga. Press to the tops of the feet. Inhale is up dog, maybe low cobra. Exhale brings us to down dog. We're going to skip those thread the needles, so breathe into down dog. And on your exhale, bend your knees, look between your hands, step or float into forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, refold. And reverse swan dive. Inhale, tall. Exhale, cactus open. Inhale, mountain. And then hands to your heart center on the exhale. We take the other side of that. So left foot stays rooted. Inhale, arms and right knee lift up, one-legged mountain. And on your exhale, figure four, right ankle over your left thigh. With the inhale, rise back up, one-legged mountain. You can extend your leg forward. And on the exhale, your low lunge position. Inhale, rise up into your high crescent lunge. And on the exhale, your flying lunge. And you got 2 more like that. Inhale, high crescent. Maybe take the gaze up. And exhale, flying lunge. 1 more. Inhale, high crescent. Exhale, flying lunge. From here, inhale is chair pose. Right foot meets the left, sit bones drop deep. And on the exhale, hinge out and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up. Plant your hands, step or float back to your plank. Exhale, halfway down to Chaturanga Dandasana, or however you want to do it. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift back into down dog. We're going to move into the core part of our class, friends. So we'll meet in a forearm plank position. And we're going to do movement, hold, and then movement. So the first movement we'll do is for our obliques, our side body muscles. And we're going to do dips where you lean onto the pinky edge of your feet to left and right and pull back to center. Our hold will be forearm plank, and we're back into those hip dips. So when you're ready, friends, begin those hip dips. And you don't need to go all the way down to the ground. You kind of want to lift right before you get down. Maybe you slightly tap. Use that breath. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to hold our forearm plank position. Feel that flexion through the core muscles, hips on level with your shoulders. Use your breathing. All right, let's get back into that movement. So working through those side-to-side hip dips. You got it. Okay, last time on each side. And then from the forearm plank, just press back up to the top of a plank position. Shift your hips back into a down dog. And to bring yourself onto your sit bones, you can either drop to your knees and drop the hips or swing the legs to the side, or from your down dog, just take a little hop up to your seat. Excellent. We'll find Baddha Konasana, bottoms of feet together, hands to around your toes or your shins. This is just a little rest before we do our next core pose. Inhale to reach up tall through your chest on the front edge of your sit bones. And as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and dive your sternum towards your big toes. Elbows might press a little bit down into the insides of your legs. And then just work with that slow, deep breath. Vertebrae by vertebrae, roll up out of it. Take your legs out in front of you and plant your heels to the ground with your knees in space. And then grabbing your hamstrings, pull against your hamstrings to lengthen your spine up and feel the strength of your shoulder blades behind you. Lift your heels off the ground. And the next core piece we'll do is in this pose, boat pose. The movement is where you bring your knees in, round the spine, exhales open you up. And then we'll hold boat and then go back to the movement. So yeah, when you're ready, just go for it, friends. Inhale brings knees in. Exhale opens back up into our boat pose. Okay, we're ready to hold that boat. So next time you open up into Navasana, you can do it with your knees bent and your hands to your legs. You could open your arms away from your legs. You could lengthen your legs up. You could try to lift your toes up in front of your eyes. Relax your face. Lift up to the chest. You got it. Okay, we're ready for some more movements. Last round of these. Nice, take 2 more. And then at the end of that, we're just going to meet up on our backs with our knees into our chest. Give a little side to side rock. Awesome, friends. Take your legs straight up in space. Grab your hamstrings and then lift your chest, lift your head off the mat so your gaze is forward. From here, the core move is going to be side to sides. So you release your hands, reach forward, and then you're twisting forward through left and right. Go for it, and I'll call out the hold, which is arms straight up, and then we're back into these side to sides. Use your breathing. You can always take a hand behind the base of your skull if you need support for the neck while you're in these. Okay, let's go for that hold. So arms straight up in space, gaze is forward. Feel the flexion through your core as you lift up. Again, you can totally take one hand back for some support for your neck if it needs. Okay, side to sides. Last round of these. You got it. Nice, fine. Recline cobbler's pose, bottoms of feet together, knees out wide. Relax the head, relax the torso. Deep breathing. And then we've just got one more core, and it's going to be with our legs at a leg lift position. So bring your hands behind the base of your skull, lift your head and shoulders off the ground, and then reach your legs out to a diagonal with your low back rooted to the ground, feet are together. Your movement piece, this will be the hold, but the movement piece, and you can start this whenever you're ready. Inhale, knees in. Exhale, legs up and back to the diagonal. In, up, and down. Okay, we're ready for the hold. And you don't want to go so low that that low back pulls off the ground. Feel that low back pressing to the ground. Use your breathing. Okay, bring the movement back in. Last round. Last round of movement. And then we're going to bring the legs in. You can grab your hamstrings and just lift yourself up to your sit bones. And our meet-up position is going to be in Sphinx pose. So once you get to your sit bones, you're going to go back into your tabletop and then just drop your hips all the way to the ground, legs to the back of the mat, tops of the feet are to the earth. Root into your elbows, lift up through your chest. Create that length through the back of the neck. Leave your head right where it is, or just take your gaze across your left shoulder, twisting through your neck. If you're over the left and you haven't moved to the right, let's go ahead and twist to the right. And as you come back to center, leave your head upright, or I love letting the head drop down, finding some cat in the upper back, lifting through the shoulders. And then you can melt down like you're laying out at the beach, relax your head and arms, leave the feet rooted, or pick your feet up in space and circle out your ankles, windshield wiper the legs out. Nice, friends. You can stay right where you're at in a restful place, or if you want to move into Dhanurasana, bow pose, pull those heels to the sit bones. Reach the hands back for the tops of the feet or the ankles. Let your knees press down as your legs kick back, pulling the chest and arms back. Eventually, thighs leave the ground. You could also go back into locust pose as well from what we did earlier in class. That's another great spine strengthening pose. Your knees are toned in right at about hip bone distance in either one of those options. And then when you're ready, just slowly release, palms under the shoulders, tuck the toes, lift up to your plank, shift it back into down dog. Inhale takes the right leg up tall in space. Create a scorpion tail with your right leg on the exhale. Bend the knee, drape the toes to the left, knee lifts up tall. As you're doing your scorpion tail, make sure that you're not collapsing into your left shoulder or that your left heel is like collapsing over to the side. Keep your arms and your left leg nice and strong. Next exhale, friends, bring the knee to your left elbow or tricep. Inhale draws it back up tall. Exhale takes knee, right elbow, tricep. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, knee to your forehead, round the back. One more inhale is going back up, three-legged down dog. And then exhale to your low lunge position. So keep your left hand or fist or fingers under your shoulder. Inhale, your right arm lifts up tall to a twist. And if you want to take a layer up here, we're going to go to the 5 fingertips of the left hand, the middle fingertip of the left hand, and then just hover the left hand off the ground, but keep that shape in the spine and that lift through your right arm. Awesome. Take one more inhale to lift up, and then on an exhale, we'll bring both hands to the inside of the right foot. Heel toe your right foot over to the right side of your mat. This is runner's lunge. Hands under your shoulders, or the forearms to the floor under your shoulders, or the forearms to a block or to some type of prop. For more intensity, the back knee stays lifted like you're in a forearm plank, or you can let the left knee come down to the ground. You could also angle your right foot so your toes are slightly off the right side of your mat, so the inside of your right foot points more forward to the front of the room. We want to keep strength around our hips here, so we're not just dropping the weight to one side or the other. And then the neck muscles can take a bit of a break here and relax out. Find your breathing. From the forearms, make your way back up to your hands. The back knee's lifted. Bring that back knee off the ground. Low lunge position. Heel toe your right foot back into the center of your mat. Knife edge the left foot to the ground. Open up into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Left arm back, right arm forward. Spine up nice and tall. Feel the tone through both of your legs. So we're lunging in the right leg. That one's a little more obvious that you tone around. But even as you press back into the left leg, feel that tone around that left back leg. On an exhale, first inhale to straighten out your right leg. And then for triangle, on your exhale, you're going to reach as far forward as you can. And then your right hand could go to your shin. Or if you've got a block, you could go to the right hand of the block on the outside of your right ankle. or fingertips to the ground, or back of the right hand pressing to the inside of that right ankle. Your spine is this crossbar in triangle. So the hips draw back, the crown of the head reaches forward. Arms are at a full wingspan opening, and then if your right knee is locked, try to just give a little micro bend so you can engage the muscles around your right knee. Beautiful, friends. On an inhale, rise back up into your warrior two and reverse that warrior. Left hand to hip thigh behind you, right arm lifts up tall. On your exhale, right hand to your right thigh, left hand over your right, turn onto the ball of your left foot, and then we're taking this into the staging of warrior three. Now, friends, you could also leave your left hand to your thigh, and if you have a block or like a water bottle, you could put your right hand onto your block or your water bottle. Okay, we can take the right arm forward if the left hand is to your right thigh. Your spine is in a capital T shape. You're pressing your left heel to the wall behind you. Left toes are pointing down, foot's up on level with your hip. If you want to send both arms forward for full warrior three, we can have those arms, those fingertips reaching to the front of the room. Otherwise, you can stay at one of those variations. Use your breathing. And then we're going to meet back in a low lunge position. We can step it back to plank. You can go directly to down dog or find a vinyasa, a flow. As you hit down dog, inhale your left leg back and up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, open the hip and bend the knee. Make that scorpion tail. Awesome hip opener. Lift up tall through the knee. Strong through the lower body. And eventually an exhale is going to work the left foot up between our hands. We find our low lunge position. So right palm, fist, or fingertips to the ground. And inhaling this time the left arm up, twisted low lunge position. Stay here where you're pressing to the ground. Or move up to all five fingertips of the right hand. Middle fingertip of the right hand. And then hover the right hand off the ground. All while you're creating that shape in your spine. One more inhale lifts up, and on the exhale, bring the hands to the inside of your left foot for our runner's lunge. Heel toe your left foot over to the left side of your mat. Right foot could even slide a little bit back into the right. And then you can just copy and paste what you did on the other side unless there's something different with this side of your body, maybe like an injury you're healing from. So back knee lifted or rested was one of those options. Staying on the hands or forearms to the ground or to a block was one of those options. Reminding the weight of the head, it can relax. Think about squaring your hips towards the ground. Squaring the hips towards the front of the room as well. That beautiful breathing. And then from your forearms, come up to your hands. Back knees lifted, bring it off the ground. Find that low lunge position. Knife edge, the right foot to the ground. Warrior two on the rise. Spine is straight up in space. Strength through both of our legs. Thighs toning in towards center line. And that nice opening through the chest right at the end, letting your shoulder heads just relax away from your ears. Okay, for triangle, the inhale lengthens your left leg. And on the exhale, reach as far forward as you can and then tilt down. Left hand to your shin, to a block, the ground, or just letting the back of the hand open to the inside of that ankle. Gaze could be to the side of the room or looking up, creating that length to your left leg, but also playing with the micro bend in your knee. On an inhale, friends, come up into your warrior two, and as you exhale, just reverse your warrior. Stay with your breath. And then for the last piece, your left hand to your left thigh. Right hand onto the left. Turn onto the ball of the right foot. And then we launch forward, standing on the left leg, lifting the right leg up. And again, you could shoot a hand down to the block. Your right hand could go to a block or to a water bottle. Back right heel lifts up on level with your hip. Front of your right hip bone and toes are pointing down. You could go left arm forward, keeping right hand to your thigh. Gazes down, half lift through the spine. We could go both arms forward or whatever variation you want to work with here. Last couple rounds of breath. We're always looking for the option that supports the shape of the pose, right? That's one of the things I love about the practice is when you find all these different options that we can work with. You're just about there, friends, so just slow control. Work back to your low lunge position. Step back to your plank. Feel free to just go right to the last down dog or to take the last flow. And then once you got that last down dog into place, we're going to, I totally forgot that, huh, Julie? All right, okay, take your left leg back up real quick. On your exhale, bring your knee to your right elbow or tricep, friends. We'll get this in. Inhale, reach back up. On your exhale, bring your knee to your left elbow or tricep. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, knee to your forehead. All right, now find your last down dog. And then we're going to meet up on the sit bones, and we'll go into a seated forward fold. So just get your heels up to the top of your mat. Walk your sit bones back a little bit so you're on the front edge of your sit bones. Have a little bit of a bend through your knees. Inhale, stretch your arms up, breathe into it. And on your exhale, you're just hinging out from the front of your hips, swan diving forward, grabbing your toes, grabbing your shins. And then you can always add more bend to your knees or subtract the bend in the knees by walking sit bones forward or backwards while we're here. And just take your time with that breathing. Okay, take the last inhale slow and deep. And when your exhale comes, just a sigh out of your mouth all the way down to empty. And then you can lift the arms up nice and tall as you lengthen the spine. Breathe in. Exhale, bring your hands down to your chest. We'll meet up on our backs, friends. You can add any layers of clothing on that you need. Or if you got your hair in a ponytail, you can take your ponytail out. Awesome. One last back bend together. This will be bridge pose. So just plant your feet to the floor at hip bone distance. Step your heels in until your fingers can touch your heels. And then draw your hips up off the ground with the base of the skull to the earth. Elbows pressed to the ground. Your shoulders might come in a little closer towards one another. Big toes rooted to the ground. Lift up through your hips. Awesome breathing. And then just slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, roll your hips back down into the ground. Cross your left ankle over your right knee. And like we did in our first sun salutation, B, we're going to go into figure 4. This one's reclined pigeon on the back. So interlace your hands around the right shin or hamstring. Right hand goes on the outside of the right leg. Left hand goes into the gap we've created. And as the weight of the head relaxes, just give a little side-to-side movements. You can flex your left toes towards your shin. Your left knee could gently flex forward. And then extend that left leg flat out in front of you and move into a spinal twist, letting your left hand pull your right knee over to the left so your body rolls onto the outside edge of your left hip. Right arm reaches to the right, and then you twist your gaze out to the right as well. And however much effort you're putting into, maybe pushing or pulling into the pose, also, we want to let the body start to relax out. We want to feel more the weight of the body just being drawn into the pose just with gravity. Nice. Roll onto your back. Bring your knees in. Just give a little side-to-side rock. Massaging out the hips and the low back. And then we'll let the left foot plant to the ground. Slide the right ankle over the top of that left knee, thigh. And move into your figure 4 on this side, interlacing hands around the hamstring or the shin. Letting your toes flex back towards the shin, your knee gently flex forward. You can add a little bit of that side-to-side rocking, weight of the head's just relaxed here. So uncross, send that right leg forward in space. Find the other side of this twist. Right hand pulling left knee down over to the right. Hip on the outside edge of the right hip. Left arm to the left. Gaze out over your left fingertips. Easy breath. As we come out of this, knees to chest, rocking side to side is fantastic. Happy baby is also a great option, or maybe there's another pose you'd like to end your practice with. Happy baby, if we're not aware of that, peace sign fingers to the big toes or hands to the edges of the feet. Knees are bent at 90 so the bottoms of the feet shine to the sky, and then just gently pulling down on the frame and giving a little side to side rocking, massaging out the hips and low back. And as we take a few minutes at the end here for our final resting pose, our Shavasana, again, you can add any layers of clothing on or subtract any layers of the clothing just to make yourself nice and comfortable, nice and warm. Think about letting go of controlling your breath, so just allow the body to take back over on the breathing. Close through the eyes, weight of the feet relaxed, arms relaxed, hands relaxed. Slowly start to bring life back to the body. Wiggling your fingers, toes. Stretch your arms back behind you in space. Take a full morning stretch. Roll out your ankles, your wrists, deepen your breath. And then just turn the weight of your body onto your side to a fetal position, curling up, relaxing. And eventually, just make your way up to a comfortable cross-legged position or whatever pose you'd like to end our experience with. Once you feel rooted, inhale to extend your arms out wide and tall. And on the exhale, press your palms together and draw your hands down into the heart center. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Much love. Namaste.